My academic mentor stole my research and publicly humiliated me. 6 months later, he woke up to a career apocalypse. Today, my phone is exploding with 73 missed calls. Science was supposed to be about discovery, not destruction. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, my mentor, research supervisor, the woman who'd guided me through my entire doctoral journey, had just stolen my life's work. Not metaphorically. Literally. My groundbreaking research on genetic markers for early Alzheimer's detection was going to change everything. Years of work. Countless late nights. Meticulous data collection. All reduced to a footnote in her latest publication. The conference presentation was surreal. I watched her confidently present my findings. My data. My breakthrough. Her name. Her publication. Pioneering research by Dr. Elena Rodriguez, she announced, her voice smooth, commanding. The audience applauded. The scientific community celebrated. And I sat in the back of the auditorium, watching my entire academic career evaporate. When I confronted her later, her response was chilling. In academia, ownership is fluid, she said, not even looking up from her computer. Consider this a learning experience. My advisor. My mentor. The person who'd promised to guide my academic journey had just erased me completely. But some stories don't end where they're supposed to. Some stories are just beginning. Revenge is a science. And I was about to become its most precise practitioner. The academic world might look pristine from the outside, but it's a battlefield of egos, ambitions, and carefully guarded territories. Dr. Elena Rodriguez thought she'd won. She had no idea what was coming. My first move was quiet. Systematic. I began documenting everything. Every email. Every research meeting. Every single piece of communication that could prove the timeline of my research. An old college friend, Marcus, now worked in academic publishing. Off the record, I told him during a carefully orchestrated coffee meeting. Each word calculated. Each piece of information precisely placed. The research data became my obsession. Raw datasets. Methodology notes. Unpublished drafts. Digital footprints are never completely erased. I discovered a pattern. Elena had been strategically positioning herself for months. Subtle manipulations. Carefully placed conversations. The kind of academic maneuvering that would make a corporate strategist proud. My department's graduate student network became an unexpected ally. Whispers. Careful observations. The kind of information sharing that happens in the shadows of academic hallways. The most interesting discovery came from an old email chain. Elena had been negotiating with multiple research grants, trying to position my work as her breakthrough. Before the conference. Before the publication. Colleagues who had once praised her started to notice something was off. Subtle questions. Careful investigations. The perfectly crafted image was beginning to crack. I wasn't doing anything dramatic. I was simply letting the truth gather momentum. The most dangerous researcher isn't the one who attacks immediately. It's the one who understands that true exposure comes from patience. Elena thought she was running a perfect academic con. She was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The landmines were set. All I needed was to watch them detonate. The most dangerous weapon isn't a knife. It's the truth, meticulously sharpened. Over the next 3 months, I became a ghost in the academic world. Elena continued her victory lap, completely unaware that I was dismantling her carefully constructed lie, piece by piece. My first strategic move involved her recent research publication, the one that had stolen my life's work. I knew academic journals love details, and details were my specialty. I reached out to Dr. Robert Chun, a renowned expert in research ethics at a prestigious university. Confidentially, I told him during a carefully planned video call. Casual. Calculated. Nothing direct. The research records became my obsession. Raw data. Methodology logs. Publication trails. Elena had been clever, but not clever enough. I discovered inconsistencies that would make most research ethics committees raise an eyebrow. Subtle data manipulations. Questionable citation practices. The kind of academic misconduct that lives in the gray areas of scientific research. My network of graduate students and junior researchers became an unexpected intelligence-gathering team. Quiet conversations. Strategic inquiries. The kind of information collection that would make a corporate investigator proud. The publication itself was a masterpiece of academic fraud. Carefully selected data points. Strategically omitted contradictory findings. The type of manipulation that can destroy careers if exposed. I began building a comprehensive dossier, not just of her theft, but of a pattern of academic misconduct that went far deeper than a single stolen research project. The most interesting discovery came from her previous publications. A trail of small inconsistencies. Potential data fabrications. The kind of academic sins that could unravel an entire career. Each piece of information was another nail in her professional coffin. My technical background in research methodology became my secret weapon. Late nights weren't suspicious. Detailed research wasn't out of character. I used every professional skill I'd ever developed: data analysis, forensic research investigation, strategic planning. The most dangerous predator isn't the one who roars. It's the one who watches. Who waits. Who plans. Elena thought she was running a perfect academic con. She had no idea I was writing the script to her own destruction. By the time I was done, she would lose everything. Not just her current research. Not just her reputation. But her entire carefully constructed academic facade. This was going to be a masterpiece of academic exposure. And I was just getting started. Precision is an art form. In academia, it's a weapon. The first crack in Elena's perfect narrative came during an international research symposium. I'd been quietly preparing for months, gathering every single piece of evidence with the precision of a surgical instrument. The conference hall was my chosen battlefield. Elena arrived confident, her designer blazer a shield of perceived academic superiority. She had no idea the walls were about to come crashing down. I presented the evidence systematically. Overlapping data points. Fabricated research methodologies. Stolen research findings. Each slide was another nail in her carefully constructed academic coffin. Dr. Robert Chun, the research ethics expert I'd strategically consulted, was in the audience. His presence was my silent weapon. Each raised eyebrow was another blow to Elena's credibility. These methodological inconsistencies, I said quietly, pointing to a series of suspicious research slides, aren't just questionable. They're a fundamental breach of academic integrity. The research community watched in stunned silence. The international research database I'd been quietly compiling told a story Elena never intended to be told. Overlapping research findings. Strategically hidden data discrepancies. A pattern of academic theft that went far beyond my single project. Elena tried to interrupt. To spin a narrative. But the evidence was overwhelming. Colleagues who had once praised her research were now looking at her differently. Whispers. Careful glances. The perfect academic image was crumbling in real time. I hadn't done anything dramatic. I'd simply let the truth speak for itself. Some people believe in confrontation. I believe in letting evidence do the heavy lifting. Elena thought she was running a perfect academic con. She was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The first domino had fallen. And I was just getting started. Lies in academia are like house of cards built on shifting sand. Elena's professional reputation began to disintegrate faster than she could manage damage control. The academic WhatsApp groups, research forums, and professional networks became a battlefield of truth. Colleagues who had initially celebrated her research started asking uncomfortable questions. The kind of questions that don't have easy answers. My mentor from my previous research lab became my unexpected strategist. I always thought something was off, he confided during a carefully arranged meeting. His observations were like precision tools, cutting through Elena's carefully constructed facade. The research grants Elena had been pursuing started evaporating. Emails became shorter. Meetings were cancelled. Professional relationships she'd spent years building were disappearing overnight. Academic social media became a minefield. Screenshots of research inconsistencies. Detailed evidence of methodological fraud. The perfectly curated academic profile was crumbling in real time. International research networks began to see the truth. The late-night data manipulations. The hushed conversations. The pieces started falling into place. Elena's graduate students were the first to truly break ranks. Whispered conversations in department hallways. Careful sharing of discovered inconsistencies. The protective shield was crumbling. I didn't do anything dramatic. I simply let the truth do the heavy lifting. Professional networks began to collapse. Research associates who had once praised Elena were now asking hard questions. Investigations were launched. Reputations were at stake. The most dangerous researcher isn't the one who attacks immediately. It's the one who understands that true exposure comes from patience. Elena thought she was running a perfect academic con. She was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The academic web was unraveling, and I was watching it come apart, thread by careful thread. Some academic careers end with a whisper. Mine ended with a calculated storm. The formal investigation was nothing short of a strategic masterpiece. I didn't just want to expose Elena. I wanted to dismantle everything she had built. My evidence was comprehensive. Research fraud. Systematic academic misconduct. Repeated intellectual theft. The kind of detailed investigation that would make a research ethics committee weep with intellectual satisfaction. Elena's legal team tried every trick. Character assassination. Claims of academic rivalry. Attempts to paint me as a disgruntled former student trying to destroy a distinguished career. I let the documents speak for themselves. Falsified research data. Manipulated methodology logs. Stolen research findings. Unauthorized publication credits. Each piece of evidence was another nail in her academic coffin. Dr. Robert Chun became my unexpected primary witness. His reputation in research ethics was beyond reproach. His analysis of my compiled evidence was devastating. The university's Research Integrity Board's decision was unanimous. Not only would Elena face complete professional discreditation, but she would be barred from future research publications. The academic career she'd spent decades building would be utterly destroyed. Her professional network collapsed. Research partnerships disappeared. Ongoing grant applications were canceled. The academic empire she thought she was building crumbled in real time. Her own graduate students began providing additional testimony. Those hushed conversations, those moments of doubt, they became the final weapon in her destruction. I didn't seek revenge out of anger. I sought justice out of principle. The research findings she tried to steal, they would now be properly attributed. Secured for scientific progress. The most dangerous predator isn't the one who attacks immediately. It's the one who understands that true destruction comes from patience. Stephen thought he was running a perfect con. He was about to learn that perfect plans are often the first to fail. The social web was unraveling, and I was watching it come apart, thread by careful thread. Some stories end with a bang. Mine ended with a calculated whisper. The legal proceedings were nothing short of a strategic masterpiece. I didn't just want to win. I wanted to dismantle everything Stephen had built. My evidence was comprehensive. Financial fraud. Attempted property theft. Falsified documents. The kind of detailed investigation that would make a forensic accountant weep with joy. Stephen's lawyer tried every trick. Character assassination. Claims of family jealousy. Attempts to paint me as a vindictive brother trying to destroy his successful sibling. I let the documents speak for themselves. Bank transfers to shell companies. Unauthorized property negotiations. Forged signatures. Falsified business contracts. Each piece of evidence was another nail in his coffin. Aunt Margaret became my unexpected strength. Her testimony, sharp and precise, cut through Stephen's fabrications like a knife. The court's decision was unanimous. Not only would Stephen face criminal charges, but he would be barred from any involvement in the family business. The construction company Dad had built would be protected. Stephen's professional network collapsed. Business partners disappeared. Contracts were canceled. The empire he thought he was building crumbled in real time. His wife Jennifer testified against him. Those hushed conversations, those moments of doubt, they became the final weapon in his destruction. I didn't seek revenge out of anger. I sought justice out of principle. The millions Stephen tried to steal, they would now be fully protected. Invested in a trust for our aging mother. Secured for the family's future. Some people believe in dramatic confrontations. I believed in letting truth do the heavy lifting. Stephen lost everything. His reputation. His career. His social standing. His carefully constructed life. And I walked away with something far more valuable. Integrity. And a promise kept to our dying father. Some stories end. Some lessons continue. 3 years after the legal battle, life looked completely different. Our mother, now living comfortably, understood the true meaning of family protection. The construction company Dad had built was reborn. Not as the business Stephen tried to steal, but as a testament to resilience. To integrity. I'd learned something profound about family. About justice. About the kind of strength that doesn't come from anger, but from principle. Stephen disappeared. No dramatic exit. Just a slow fade into irrelevance. His attempts to rebuild his professional life were continually undermined by the comprehensive documentation of his betrayal. Our extended family found a new balance. Those who had initially believed Stephen's lies now understood the full truth. The carefully constructed narrative had been completely dismantled. Aunt Margaret became my closest confidant. "You didn't seek destruction," she'd say. "You sought justice." I didn't feel victorious. I felt resolved. Some believe revenge is about making someone suffer. I learned it's about protecting what matters. About showing your true character when everything is falling apart. The phone calls from Stephen eventually stopped. The desperate attempts to explain. To manipulate. To reconnect. I'd built something he could never touch. A life of integrity. A promise kept to our dying father. A family legacy protected. Every challenge became an opportunity. Every setback, a lesson. Some people are defined by their worst moments. Others are defined by how they rise above them. I chose to rise.